This is day 7 of the Karen Reed trial. I'm going to get into part 2. We are in the cross-examination of Jen McCabe. After the lunch break, they start going over Jen's text with John O'Keefe the night of the event, essentially to encompass everything that happened. When she sees Karen Reed's car pull up the first time, she texts John O'Keefe, "Here?" ? And he doesn't respond at that point. She said there were about 4 or 5 text messages between her to John, and she had gone up to the glass door at her sister's house to look out the window. And when she did that, she had testified in a previous trial or hearing that that's when she would text every time. So she went up to the door to see the car 4 or 5 times. I don't think Alan Jackson actually ever asked if John O'Keefe came into the house. He's probably saving that for his third-party culprits, who are Brian Albert and Brian Higgins. But I'm sure if he would have asked her if John O'Keefe came in the house, she would have said no. At some point, she sees that the car is gone and Karen has driven away. And in the snow, I guess the snow had started to accumulate at that point. She sees another set of tire tracks, which is kind of parallel to where Karen Reed's car was pulled over. Now we're getting into the early morning hours of the 29th when they go to look for John O'Keefe. And she originally had that phone call from Karen Reed. And she said that when they were in the car, she couldn't see anything out the window. A year previously, when she testified at the first trial, she said that when she got out of the car, she saw John. Today, she was saying on direct examination that she couldn't see John until she got all the way over to the scene. Alan Jackson asked, "So yesterday you testified that Karen said, 'I hit him 3 times. That's incredible memory and something that you wouldn't forget.'" And she says, "Correct." So we all know the grand jury testimony was April 26, 2022. This was something that totally set up the whole foundation for this case against Karen. Her charges got upgraded. So all of this grand jury testimony is extremely pivotal because things that were said then have shaped the entire trial. And it's brought to her attention by Alan Jackson that in that trial, in front of the grand jury, when she was also under oath, she never said that Karen said, "I hit him. She says, "I may not have said it then, but I definitely remember that Karen said that on January 29th. That's something I wouldn't forget." I would love to know what the jurors' faces were at this point. For me, that's a huge moment. April 2022 is a lot closer to the events than now, so you feel like your memory would be stronger. Alan Jackson always brings that up, and that's something that you would bring up right away. In her testimony, actually, at the grand jury, she said that Karen said, "Did I hit him?" with a question mark. "Could I have hit him?" That's what happened when they were in Karen's car. Jackson jumps around again and back to the morning of January 29th. They were sitting at 34 Fairview, and this is when Brian Albert's there, the Higgins, they're all sitting around the table. Nobody has been separated, and they were all chatting. Apparently, Brian Higgins is the one that said, "You need to call Lank back and tell him that." Jen McCabe called Officer Lank to come back over because she had remembered something. And in Officer Lank's notes, it said, Karen said, "I hope I didn't hit him." And she's standing firm on, "No, I told Lank that Karen said, I hit him the 3 times. I don't know what he ended up putting in his notes, but that's not what she said. And that's not what his report reflects." Jackson brings up her interactions with Sergeant Good. He interviewed Jen McCabe the morning of the 29th, about 2 hours after. I think it was around 9 a.m. though. And he's asking questions about the interview, and she doesn't remember any of this interview. She was like, there was so much going on. Do you have any memory? She doesn't remember any specifics. Did you tell any officer that Karen was hysterical and insistently screaming? And she cannot answer yes or no. She doesn't remember telling which officers what, but then when she talked to Lank and he came back to the house, she remembered more specifics. And I think Alan Jackson is trying to piece together that she was friendly with Officer Lank or Sergeant Lank, Detective Lank. I can never get their titles right. I apologize. She was friendly with him, and she ended up talking to Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and then called him back to give him just those details. So Alan Jackson is going to be continuing cross-exam. We actually don't have court tomorrow. Why? It's called Law Day or something, and apparently Bev has a luncheon. This is what I've seen going around on X. So we will be back on Friday. Apparently there is a full day of court on Friday, and we'll see if we'll see if Jen McCabe's blowout holds out or if she'll get a new blowout.